When you look into the history of 19th century frontier Florida, you are stepping onto highly unstable ground. Official documents were incredibly scarce, and what did exist was frequently lost to catastrophic courthouse fires or the harsh physical environment. Standard historical assumptions regularly fail here. Because the territorial boundaries were constantly shifting, historians have had to rely heavily on localized civic traditions and oral histories that are difficult to verify. To parse fact from localized mythology, we are utilizing a strict three-tiered verification framework: locked, caution, and open. A locked fact is supported by a strong, unbroken chain of primary source documentation. Caution handles plausible local lore with some documentary footprint, but no absolute certainty. Open represents unresolved contradictions and archival voids where definitive statements must be avoided. Investigating the Florida frontier requires rigorous active filtering. We cannot passively accept pioneer lore. We have to test every claim against the surviving evidence. Discovering the true history of the frontier requires an active scientific investigation to filter surviving facts from localized mythology. This map illustrates central Florida during the Second Seminole War. The upper right was home to Pilaklikaha. Founded around 1813 by Black Seminoles, descendants of self-emancipated enslaved people, this prosperous settlement sat directly at the crossroads of heavily trafficked Indian trails. Without precise physical data, early historians projected the rigid, geometric layout of typical southern plantations onto the settlement. Modern excavations disproved this. The physical record revealed an asymmetrical layout, optimized for a robust agricultural base and massive livestock herds. Applying external assumptions to frontier history distorts the truth. It requires physical ground truthing to correct the record and see the settlement for what it was. We can see the necessity of ground truthing in a specific modern data contradiction. According to National Resources Conservation Service mapping, there were 0 clay deposits within a 5-kilometer radius. But physical soil samples proved the digital data wrong. The hammock contained rich clay deposits, used by the Black Seminoles to create daub to build their homes. These intact vessels reveal the community's economic orientation. The dominant artifacts found at the site are Native American pottery, not imported Western goods. Because these pottery fragments follow the exact trade patterns of the surrounding Seminole tribes, they reveal a deeply integrated cultural and economic alliance with the nation's principal leader, Chief Micanopy. Pilaklikaha was a unique, interdependent society of self-emancipated people and Native Americans, operating completely outside the boundaries of the American Southern plantation economy. The prosperity of this alliance carried a severe geopolitical consequence. To the United States government, a thriving, self-sufficient stronghold of emancipated people and Native Americans was an intolerable military and economic threat. When the Second Seminole War broke out, United States forces explicitly targeted Pilaklikaha to cripple the region's agricultural supply lines. Recognizing the overwhelming force moving toward them, the residents evacuated the town in 1836. Shortly after, U.S. troops under the command of General Abraham Eustis arrived and completely destroyed it. The military employed a brutal scorched earth tactic, burning the structures and crops to erase the physical footprint of the town from the map entirely. The buildings burned to the ground, but thanks to rigorous archaeological proof, the legacy and exact location of Pilaklikaha remain a locked foundational truth of the region. The destruction of this sanctuary was a major escalation in the Second Seminole War, which grew into the deadliest and most expensive Indian War in American history. Before county lines were drawn or courthouses were built, the Central Florida frontier was a fiercely contested, blood-soaked theater of war. Returning to our map, we see the actual flashpoint that ignited the conflict just months prior. Here we can identify the site of the doomed Dade massacre and the brutal combat inside the Wahoo Swamp that defined this next chapter. Situated on the Fort King Trail to guard these supply lines was Fort Armstrong, an installation completely vanished from the physical record. Next time, we will test our verification framework against an impenetrable swampland and a missing fort, and attempt to map the chaotic battles that reshaped the peninsula.